Hello, my name is Bhagwan Chaudhary. I'm a professor of finance at ISB, the Indian School of Business. Today I'm speaking with Vijay Mahajan. Vijay Mahajan is considered the father of microfinance in India. He was the founder of Basics, and he's done many other things. Currently, he is the director for the Rajiv Gandhi Institute for Contemporary Studies. Vijay, about 10 years ago, you and I got together and we came up with this idea called financial access at birth, which had three aspects to it. That let's create a digital identity, let's create electronic bank accounts for everyone, and let's give a $100 deposit to every child that is born. Now, today, 10 years later, I think we have two out of the three. We have Aadhaar, it's a digital identity for everyone, and we have the Janadhan accounts. So tell us a little bit about how many Janadhan accounts are there already?
Well, there are the last estimate which is available is from a answer of a parliamentary question about a year ago, and that time the number was 32.4 crore. So it's probably not gone up significantly because banks are not opening too many accounts since then.
Okay.
So we can
In
assume
terms of
about
reach,
32.
how much is the reach, you think? What percent of population do you think we have reached?
So see, these 32.4 crore accounts pretty much ensure that there is uh, at least one adult in every family,
At least one.
because there are only about 25 crore households in the country. Even if you include, single households with one or two people, even then it may be maximum 30 crore. So, so the number is more than that. But then there are a number of people who are destitute, who are vagrants, who are homeless, who are in very remote locations, nomadic people. So one can't claim that it's 100%, but
Yeah.
I would
There are
imagine
some
it would
people
be in the
still
high 90s.
excluded, but we have reached a large portion of the population. Now,
Yeah,
we've also mentioned that if you look at the number of workers in India, 50 crore workers, a
yeah,
large part of it is an informal sector. Tell us what
yes.
that means. What does informal sector mean?
So despite India's economic growth story in the first 10 years of this century, one number that remained stuck where it was the percentage of our worker population which is in the informal and agricultural sector. And that remained at 93%. So only 7% really work. Yeah, only 7% of the 50 crore, that's about 3.5 crore workers, work in jobs of the kind that you and I talk about, where you get a monthly paycheck.
Yeah.
The others are either farmers, 9 crore are farmers, and then there are agricultural laborers, and then there are, of course, the vast non-farm sector, most of it informal, including the urban informal sector.
So these would be people like your dhobi and your
Yes,
charkhala
so
and maids and all.
street vendors, even casual workers in factories, in garment manufacturing units. Some, but not all, are formalized because now that the provident fund and employee state insurance payments are necessary once they are seen on the rolls. So there are a number of ways by which the contract workers keep being rotated, or work is outsourced to the home, and all kinds of things. So there's a lot of variants of informality.
Okay, so now we have a situation that makes this population really vulnerable. We are in
Yes.
a lockdown pretty much everywhere in the country, which means these people have nothing to do. They probably don't have jobs, don't have wages. So we need to reach out to them. But luckily, we have the technology now to be able to do it. So tell us how we can reach out to these people and what we can do.
So, fortunately, we have three big systems already in place.
Okay,
First is the banking system,
banking system.
which, yeah, of which, just to give you two numbers, already 32 crore Jan Dhan accounts. These are basic saving bank deposit accounts. And as many as 22 crore mudra loan borrowers. So all of them will have a bank account.
Yeah.
Although, so some of them may have repaid their loans, particularly the ones from 2015 and 2016. So current mudra borrowers would at least be half as many, 11 crore, but I'm sure the others won't have shut their accounts.
Yeah.
So
we have those accounts ready.
Yeah, so these are real bank accounts with KYC done, with Aadhaar linkage, often mobile linkage, and where they are accounts in a bank branches which are all electronically linked to central servers.
Okay, that's excellent.
So that's one big system. Second big system is the payment system.
Yeah.
Which is what we use to send or receive money. And the government of India has been a major user of the payment system. The direct benefit transfers last year, they crossed uh,
3 lakh crores, I think you say.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my cell phone just shut off. So
yeah,
the amount crossed 3 lakh crores with 351 crore transactions. So obviously they were, and they showed 124 crore beneficiaries. Obviously, people who, for example, received monthly payments for pensions, they probably got double counted as beneficiaries. But still,
then there's
it's a fantastic reach, which is already happening.
Yeah, excellent.
Because we are in a situation where we need to reach crores of people and quickly and with relatively small amounts.
And you have specific suggestions which will help us. But there's a third system, which is one of the oldest.
Yes, the third one is the physical, what we call the ration shop, or formerly the public distribution system. That has 5.4 lakh ration shops. All of them now have POS machines. 83% of ration card holders are now Aadhaar linked. So there's a lot of possibilities of distributing food. As it is, the National Food Security Program under the Act of 2013, last year served 80.7 crore persons through about maybe 20 crore ration cards. So
we should be able to, as far as food is concerned, we should be able to reach pretty much everyone if they have access to a ration card. Okay.
Of course, there's an assumption behind this, Bhagwan, which is that the even more fundamental infrastructure systems, namely electricity, telecom, transportation, they need to continue to work. If
that's right.
They don't work. Then, for example, if the power system shuts down, then computers and telecom will shut down.
So we have to make sure, given the crisis, that these systems that we have put in place are functioning and functioning well. Okay.
Yeah, and that people who work in them should be given both protection in terms of health, but also they should be given significant incentives. Today we had this unfortunate news we just heard that the global head of IT infrastructure for TCS just died of a massive heart attack. He was 53, and one of the reasons seems to be that he was working 24/7 for the last several 10 days. So
yeah. So I think the point you're making is that there are essential workers, and we need to make sure that they stay healthy and they stay not too tired, and they are in good shape to make sure that these systems are functioning well.
Yes.
I think that's a really important point that people haven't brought up very much.
And also we must remember that for all the electronics, it really stops at the bank branch, because in theory, from the money can go into the bank account of a person, but a vast majority of them will not be able to do digital payments after that. They will need cash.
They need to withdraw it and then do the transactions. So those things
So the cash logistics, loading cash in ATMs, giving cash to bank branches, giving cash to micro banking agents, all of that must continue.
Okay, excellent. I think you have five specific suggestions that I looked at, and there's a document you have created that I am going to attach to this video after the talk so people can read it in more details. So tell us, what are these five things we can do? First one.
So before that, I thought of the criteria that for my suggestions. So first, of course, it must reach a large number of workers in crores, literally.
Large.
It should provide at least subsistence wages and food supplies. It should do it with minimal possible leakage, corruption, exploitation, and delay.
No leakage.
Uh, and and it should keep the fiscal burden on the government as low as possible, because the government is going to need as much powder as possible. This is a long drawn battle.
Okay.
Uh, so,
And it should read.
what I'm saying is,
And it should read.
let's first
Okay.
let's first use uh, people's own savings. If, for example, in the those who have a provident fund account, and that's a large number of 4.5 crore provident fund holders. Most of them have multiple years of PF accumulation. I'm suggesting that 4 months basic pay, which amounts to 4 months contribution, which amounts to roughly 1 month's basic pay, because it's 24 months, 24% per month, 12 by the employer and 12 by the employee. That should be immediately withdrawable without any questions asked.
So allow people to
And that,
withdraw about 4 months of contribution. That will give them at least a month's equivalent of salary. So in this time,
well, only a basic pay. So typically, basic pay is half of the salary, but at least you
yeah.
have subsistence wages.
Okay.
And then, depending on if the crisis continues, they can extend it month to month, maybe for up to 3 months or till the balance lasts. That's an example of using people's own money. The second is, uh, you know, uh, the government is already doing direct benefit transfers to old age pensioners, to pregnant women, to disabled persons, to widows, to a number of disadvantaged categories. And these are really vulnerable people.
Yeah.
So, what I'm suggesting is that a one shot DBT of 3 months instead of 1 month.
Okay. So do an
May,
injection of a 3 months of DBT right away, because this is when they're going to feel the crunch. And since the
yeah,
system
and
is
also,
set up,
having some cash in their account, some balance in their account or some cash in hand leads to a lot more sense of security. And this is not an additional expense for the government because it's pre-committed in the budget. It's
right.
just advancing the cash flow at the time of crisis.
So this should not have a big
Now,
fiscal implication.
yeah, the third thing I'm suggesting is that, and this is the only one which has a fiscal implication, is that under the National Food Security Program, anyway, 35 kilos of rice or wheat is given to every family for 2 or 3 rupees a kilo per month.
Yeah.
I'm suggesting that the government declared that this will be released every month for the next 3 months, free of cost.
Okay.
Now, the cost of this works out to be about 27 to 30,000 crores, depending on what grains and where it is, so forth. But that's 1% of the government's budget, not even the fiscal deficit. It's 1% of the budget. Budget was
yeah. So this is totally doable. These numbers
yeah,
are
it's totally doable.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And using the ration shop network, of course. And so this would directly benefit 80 crore individuals and at least 20 crore households.
Okay.
Then we move to the banking system's possibilities. Now, the Jan Dhan account, interestingly, already has a pre-approved limit of 10,000 rupees of overdraft.
Overdraft.
There's some.
Means you can withdraw money. Yeah.
Yes. So now, interestingly, the 32 crore Jan Dhan accounts have 1 lakh crore of deposits already. It's not as if these people have no
empty.
deposits.
So people will first use their savings, but if they reach the bottom, you are saying move up to 10,000 rupees of withdrawal so that in case of need, it's available. I think that's an excellent point.
Yeah. Now, I'm assuming that the banks would be reluctant to do this because, they would think that this will all not come back. So I'm
Yeah,
suggesting that the government offer a guarantee to the banks of any defaults in this.
I see.
Even if you assume there's a 10% default,
So the government can
you
come back and
that's
say, hey, guys, you don't worry about it. We are guaranteeing it. And if the defaults are less than 10%, the implication for the fiscal, this thing is pretty minimal.
is 0.5% of
Yeah.
the budget.
Okay.
Now, the question is, why would people have such a low default, 10% in even times of distress? Is because we are not in a world anymore where anybody can default and live happily thereafter.
Yeah.
We know this about the big people, but it's true now also of small people, because every micro loan, every loan from a bank, every housing loan, every car loan, every auto loan, when
It's
you
linked.
want to be an Ola driver, every time your credit history gets checked.
Yeah.
So nobody
So
would
it's
want to
not
be a
that there will be no
defaulter.
consequences. So only if you're really desperate, you need the money, you're going to do it. But you're not going to
Yeah,
just say, "Oh, let me withdraw," and the game is over, because this is going to have
yes,
consequences for you in the future.
right. And
Okay.
when the government announces the overdraft scheme, it should simultaneously announce that repayment is expected and
Yeah.
that there are severe problems for people who do not repay because their credit history will be blemished forever.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. Tell us about
Likewise,
tell
the
us about
mudra loans,
Mhm.
there are, as I said, 22 crore mudra borrowers. At least half of them are still live borrowers. The others still would have bank accounts. They would have repaid their loan. By the way, that data is not available, uh, but still. Uh, so all the mudra borrowers can be given can be given uh, again a cash credit limit equal to the loan amount that was given to them. So the average loan amount for Mudra works out at about 50,000 rupees, because 22 crore people got about 11 lakh crores of loans. But a vast majority of Mudra loans are actually what are called the Shishu loans, where the average loan size is below 30,000 rupees.
Okay.
What that means is that a micro entrepreneur who had taken a loan of 30,000 rupees on an average can get an additional 30,000 rupees worth of cash credit. It doesn't mean he goes into the bank and withdraws all of it in one shot, because it's a cash credit limit. It
Yeah.
has to be for starting, buying new inventory or taking care of his payables or stuff like that. So there'll be some degree of due diligence, but nevertheless, these
Okay.
accounts are open, the borrowers are known, the bank branches are known, and it can be done.
Okay. Excellent. So that was your point number two, point, and you have a couple of other ideas.
Yeah, so I've covered all the five, but I started with the latter ones first.
Okay, all right. So let's quickly go over the five one more time just to summarize. So
Yes,
the first one is use the system in which you have the overdraft facility, so people can withdraw up to 10,000, and this is to be repaid. So only if you are in need, you are likely to use it. Uh, you also said that we can use working capital loans to Mudra loan holders and also to the Kisan credit card. Uh, and then you also mentioned that we should have um, the the public distribution system can be used to provide food, but this time you're saying don't charge it, uh, don't don't ask for money. Uh, and the two other points you made were extend, allow people to withdraw their PF contribution up to 4 months. Um, and the last point I'm forgetting was
is the food distribution,
the,
the
the
ration.
the ration. Okay, so all of these things
One
are,
point I want to highlight, Bhagwan, is that 9 crore farmers have 7 crore uh, Kisan credit cards. Seven out of 9 crore farmers have Kisan credit cards. And again, given that we are at the end of the Rabi harvest time, it's very unlikely that business is going to reach so normal that they'll start selling their produce in the mandis in the next
immediate.
2-3
Yeah,
weeks.
it will take a while.
So it's important that the KCCs are also given a full working capital limit, if necessary, additional
The
limit.
Kisan credit cards. Yeah.
Yeah. So the important thing to understand is that there is a working capital or a subsistence cash flow shortage, and we need to focus on getting cash in the hands of people or in their bank accounts.
Okay.
You know,
So I think the good news is you're saying the systems that we have been setting up for the last decade or so are now in place that we can make use of them. We can provide the subsidy and the cash and the need almost immediately. We just need
yes,
to think about it creatively without having much fiscal implication, and
yes.
it can be done right away. So I hope the Prime Minister is listening to this video. I hope the Finance Minister is listening, and we are going to attach the one-page document you have created with this video so that people can see the details in case we miss them. Vijay,
Please
thank
do it, Bhagwan ke vaste.
भगवान के लिए थैंक यू फॉर डूइंग दिस भगवान के लिए आई रियली
Thank you.
अप्रिशिएट इट थैंक यू
Thank you. Bye bye.
बाय